I'm Peter Guagenti, CEO of EverWorker. The themes that I've seen the most actually in the last day and a half actually is in many ways not about the technology and instead about organizational design, the impacts of AI on the future of work, and what the technology means for the transformation of our businesses and how we operate. Well, I think there's actually one of the other things that is an undercurrent in all of that is I think there's a little bit of feast or famine happening in AI right now. There are a lot of people who have already jumped all in and they're seeing significant results and they're becoming much more competitive and profitable as businesses because of it. And there are a lot of people who are afraid. And I fear that is a pattern we saw before with digital transformation. And in the mid to late 90s, there were a lot of companies that said, "Oh, we're not really sure what's going to happen with this internet thing. We'll wait." Most of those companies are gone, or they're severely diminished from what they were before. And I'm getting a sense of a lot of that same thing. I'm hearing a lot of pushback and resistance from some folks that is clearly not rooted in the technology or the capability or what's been proven or methodology. It's just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so a lot of the coaching that I've heard over the last day and a half that I actually think is really helpful has been a lot of coaching around how to adopt AI in a thoughtful and consistent way. And what I've heard that's been most useful is something we also preach to our customers, which is crawl, walk, run. Find those early use cases that are going to be good wins for you, lean in, execute, and then iterate over time. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. The adoption of AI today in any way, shape, or form is a good thing because it'll actually accomplish two things. First off, most of our technologies and our tools are immediate impacts on both productivity and on capability, customer experience, product development, things like that. But also at the same time, you can learn from that experience and you're going to become a better buyer and a better user of AI over time. The sooner you adopt, the sooner you're learning, the more successful you're going to be over time. I have been at the forefront of technology for 30 years, and I have seen a number of things that are radical transformation. So I don't say this lightly. I think the hype around AI is 100% correct. I think there's a lot of noise around it. I think actually the thought leaders like, Altman and others, I don't think are necessarily doing us a great service on this with some of the overhype that they do. But from my perspective, AI and its impact on human work is as fundamental as the invention of the steam engine, right? I think AI is the steam engine when we've been using shovels, right, to go and dig holes, right? And I think even if the technology does not evolve beyond where it is, even if LLMs stay relatively static, I think we are using 5 to 10% of the capability of those LLMs today. I really believe that. And I think what we're going to see in the next 3 to 5 years is we are learning very quickly how to exploit the transformer technology and what is in the LLM and how to layer on top of them the things that actually make it successful. Context and coaching through RAG and other data uses, stitching together multitudes of LLM calls into multi-agentic systems, coalescing those to actually go and replace common tasks and roles. We talk about those time around AI workers. I think all of these things are going to emerge in the next 18 to 36 months. And I don't say this lightly. I think 5 years from today, we will look back and work itself will have fundamentally changed. So, and I don't say this out of self-serving. I've always created technology because I want to serve my customers. I really say this because I think this change is going to happen whether you are participating and leading or along for the ride. And I would encourage any of your viewers to really think about that for a moment and say, do you want to be part of this or do you want to have it happen to you? Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old. I dropped out of college to start my first company. It was literally 2 months before my 20th birthday, and I was very successful and never looked back. So I am that old, unfortunately. Look, I think what I always say to young entrepreneurs is it doesn't matter what the technology or innovation is. if you want to build a successful business, the purpose of a business, it's an old Peter Drucker quote. The purpose of a business is not to create products and services. The purpose of a business is to create and keep customer relationships. And I think the transformation that AI is bringing right now, there is 100% of the companies in the world are in market for AI right now. And I bet you close to 100% of them do not know what to do. And I say this with absolute evidence from all of the customer conversations I have. I think this is a phenomenal time as an entrepreneur that if you are focused on being a customer servant, if you are focused on really helping customers win and succeed, you can build an amazing business, whether it's a product or a service, some combination of those things. I think now is an amazing time to be an entrepreneur.